Walking Dead Season 5, episode number 3 is over, but we're just getting started here on post-show recaps on The Walking Dead Live, and here are the two guys who will never, ever be able to eat human flesh again without worrying that it's tainted meat. Rob Sestrino and Josh Wigler. Josh, oh no!
Tainted meat! Tainted meat!
Ah!
It's made of tainted people!
Oh no.
Oh, man, yes. Oh, God, I was very excited to hear those words. Those are big words from the comics, Rob. Tainted meat. That's one of my favorite scenes from the comics, so I was very happy to see that tonight.
Tainted meat. Oh.
Tainted meat.
Oh, Bob isn't around anymore.
Uh,
Josh,
Sad Sky, Bob.
yes, he's up in the sky, Bob. Now, up in the blue sky, Bob, because you really do have a leg up in the competition. You had the number one pick overall. You saw Bob standing there. You went right to it, and even though you had no insight that Bob would be dead. He was the consensus number one pick for most expendable Walking Dead character, and he is now passed.
Oh yeah, totally. Bob is like a throwaway character in the comics. He's like on screen or on page for like 5 minutes at most. I don't even remember what happens to him in the comics, so I had no idea what was going to happen to him in the comics. Basically, starting last week, I kind of figured this is where they were going. The storyline that they did with Bob tonight is something they did with a different character in the comics. But I mean, Bob was just marked for death. That guy was going to die eventually. I would have kept picking Bob in my death pool every single time until Bob died. So it was just a matter of time. I didn't think it would happen this fast. But here we are, 3 episodes deep, and Bob's not the only casualty tonight. I'm pretty surprised by the other one.
Gareth is
Gareth
gone.
is. I was talking about Cabin Douche.
Oh, and Cavendish also. Gareth and Cavendish was a package deal. Both those guys are gone.
All of the Terminus people are gone now. It seems.
Terminated.
Terminated. What do you think about that? Was it too soon, or do you kind of like that it happened this fast?
Yeah, I really don't know where we're going now after this because it really, if this was last season, I was reading on the Walking Dead subreddit, somebody had posted like, if this was last season, they would have, been dealing with these guys the entire season, and Daryl and Carol wouldn't have come back until the season finale. So we're really moving at a very fast, like breakneck pace this season.
I'm loving the pace. I really am. I think that was a big complaint. Frankly, that's been a complaint against The Walking Dead almost from the beginnings. Though it can be a little bit slow. We were on Herschel's farm for an entire season. That was like 3 issues in the comic, and they stretched that out for an entire season. The Woodbury arc went on for a long time. Everybody's on the road for an entire half of a season without meeting up with each other until the very final scene of the season 4 finale. So here we are. Season 5 hits the ground running by blowing up Terminus, and now 2 episodes after that, who knows where we're going. So yeah, things are changing pretty fast, and I gotta be honest with you, Rob, I'm loving it. I think this season, so far, strongest first 3 episodes of any season to date, I think.
Boom, you heard it. All right.
I think Walking Dead season 5, if they can keep this pace up, if they can keep surprising us the way that they're doing, if they can keep playing to their strengths, which is lots of gross zombie action, lots of cool character twists, lots of cool character moments, I think that this season could really be a winner. So I'm pretty high on Walking Dead right now.
Okay, let me just set up everything for the live show here tonight. Of course, we are on the West Coast time tonight. That we had the Boardwalk Empire finale recap on the East Coast time at 10 o'clock tonight. So Josh and I are a little bit later. If you're listening to us in the archives, you don't really care because it doesn't matter to you. It's all over anyway. But for those of you guys live, thanks for staying up late with us. For those of you guys who are watching us 1 a.m. on the East Coast time. And then we've got you guys in the chat room. Thanks so much for joining us. Plus, also, Scott St. Pierre is monitoring Twitter, hashtag PSRecaps, and also on our YouTube channel at postshowrecaps.com/YouTube. Next week, we'll be back at our regular scheduled time, 10:15 p.m. Eastern time after episode 4. Can you believe after next week, the half season of Walking Dead is going to be over?
I can't believe it. It's going really fast, Rob. It's all flying by, but I like it. It's good.
Everything's going by so fast. Okay, let's start to go through all of this. Okay, we talked jokingly about the death of Bob. What about in terms of the story? How big of a blow was the death of Bob for everybody?
Oh, it's Bob.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, in seriousness, it's a big deal for Sasha. Obviously, Sasha and Bob were very, very, very close. It's a big deal for Tyrese. Tyrese finally willing to make the move that he makes. He's the guy that puts the knife in Bob's head. That's a big deal. I think Bob's final words to Rick are probably going to really be in Rick's ear for the next several episodes, especially after Rick just did something kind of unspeakable. We've seen Rick do some pretty gnarly stuff in the past, but the way he took out the Terminus people was just, oh my God, that was pretty hardcore even for Rick. So I think having Bob's words in his ear is going to be pretty cool. As for the show itself, I liked Bob. I thought Bob was an interesting character, but a non-essential character. I think we'll be okay. I think probably this time next year we're not going to be thinking too much about Bob.
Okay, you brought up so much good stuff. Let's go back to what Bob said to Rick. For those of you who don't remember exactly what he said, could you set that up?
What Bob says to Rick.
Yes.
Yeah, so Bob basically says to Rick, like, what I said yesterday, despite my current condition, I'm not backing away from. Momentum's on our side. We're coming back. Nightmares end, but that doesn't have to be the end of us. Bob's saying there's still hope for you guys. You guys can still turn this thing around, and you don't have to lose yourself completely. And I think that's really been, so far, that's been the theme of the season, as short as it's been, is how far can you go without being able to come back? And I think Rick continues to wrestle with that. And I think Bob, as he's dying, is kind of really hammering that point home for him.
Let me just ask you big picture. Do you think, 30 seasons from now, when we get to the end of The Walking Dead, do you think the nightmare...
That's a conservative estimate, Rob.
Yes. Do you think that the nightmare does end for Rick? Do you think that we get to a place where Rick, Carl, Judith are able to live in some way, shape, or form happily ever after?
That's a good question. I don't really know. I don't know what kind of world we're left with when this show is over, and it's hard for me to think about, mainly because I'll be a senior citizen by the time that we're that we're actually dealing with that stuff. But it's a good question. I don't know. Is this show ultimately going to be something of an optimistic show, where there is possibility for light and redemption at the end of the tunnel? Or is it just going to get darker and darker and darker and darker until we can't see anything anymore? So I don't know. It's a good question, Rob. I don't have a good answer for you.
Yeah, I think honestly that there's a better chance that like Andrew Lincoln wants to like go on and do something else before like the story ends. Like I think there's more of a chance that they'll have to just kill Rick off at some point.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that there's a pretty good chance that we're gonna get I don't see this show going away anytime soon. I don't see really any reason for the people responsible for the show to want it to go away anytime soon. And I do think that the premise of The Walking Dead will be able to outlive its cast of characters. And I think one day we will see that. I think one day we will be left in realistically season 9 or something, and there's going to be one or two cast members from this thing that we recognize today still on the show.
Yeah, they're going to try to live up to that motto that they have 60 seasons in a movie.
Yes, exactly.
That's what they're trying to
but then Yahoo is going to put out the seasons, and it's going to be all right.
Let's go to what you talked about, this whole ambush that ended up happening and Rick just taking everybody out in the church. Can you just talk through for me and set this up? Okay, so the guys from Terminus, they had Bob, and so they go and they leave Bob on the doorstep, and this was in essence a trap, right? They wanted Rick to go out to go and find where they were.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so then when Rick and everybody
they want to scare them senseless so that they're not thinking straight, and one of the things that they're probably thinking is like, let's get them right now, let's go do this, and then while they're gone, they're gonna sneak in the night and like kill all of the weak people who are left behind.
Okay, so that was their move, and it's a plan that should have worked. Yet somehow Rick and everybody comes back to the church. How did Rick know that was ultimately what was happening? Was Rick one step ahead of Gareth the whole time, where it's like, all right, everybody, we'll leave, then they'll come in, and then we'll sneak back in and kill them? Or was it the baby crying that made Rick come back? How did that end up working?
I think it's A. I think it's Rick's a badass, and
Well, that was a badass plan because for all Rick knows, they're going to come into that church and just like start firing away.
Well, that's what Abraham says, right? You know, when we come back from commercial and Rick is kind of laying out what they're going to go and do to these guys, Abraham goes, "I'll give you this. Your plan, it takes some stones." Well, yeah, take some real stones to do what Rick did tonight. So, kudos to Rick, one step ahead of the bad guys on this one.
I mean, they really, really took their time to come back into the church. I mean, like had Gareth just walked in and just like started shooting behind the doors, like Carl would be dead, Judith would be dead, everybody would be dead.
Well, I think if you're gonna time it, it's probably like Rick and the gang. They march off into the woods. You know, they try to go like deep enough so that it kind of seems like they actually left to go to Gareth's hideout or whatever. And Gareth and his group come out, and it gives Rick a little bit of time that he has to come back out. So a lot of things do have to go right for this plan to work. But Rick's a risk taker these days.
How did Rick know that they weren't like hiding in the bushes waiting for Rick to come out and then they were going to kill Rick?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I think that if it had been something like that, I don't think that they were going to be able to overpower Rick with all of his guns. Rick and Abraham and Maggie and Glenn, they weren't going to get those guys.
Okay. Well, that was one hell of a plan.
It was a hell of a plan. It was a hell of a plan. Also, a hell of a plan that Rick just so happened to have the machete with the red handle just at the right time.
He was ready for it.
He was ready for it.
So you talked about the brutality which ended up happening in the church. Was there some symbolism in this for you, that this big massacre that ended up taking place in Gabriel's church?
The fact that it's happening in a place of worshp.
Yeah, and
yeah. Well, I think it's that's what Gabriel comes out and says, like, this is a house of God, and Mag says, nope, it's just four walls and a roof. Name of the episode. So yeah, I think listen. It's The Walking Dead. There is no God anymore.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my non-existent God now.
Yeah.
Because it's everything has gone to hell in a handbasket.
Where is your God now?
That's right. Okay, let's talk about Gabriel, because he had a big scene tonight where he talked about everything that was happening. Should we, as viewers, should take what Gabriel told us at face value?
Well, I think the thing with Gabriel is we've known him for 2 episodes now. So I think that anyone that you know for this short a period of time on The Walking Dead, you got to take with a little bit of a grain of salt until that person proves himself or herself one way or the other. And I think with Father Gabriel, we just don't know enough. We know that this guy is damaged, and we know that this guy is crazy. But I think, the type of thing that he's confessing to here, that he basically just locked out all of these people from his church and just like stood helplessly by while they all died and screamed his name and everything. I don't know what you're covering up by dropping that bomb, because that's a pretty bad bomb to begin with. So you're already making yourself look like a little bit of a shithead.
I mean, but it's a church. It's not a castle. Like, you're telling me that a mob of people couldn't break in there and get in there with Gabriel?
That part's a little unbelievable. I mean, like, Gareth and his guys just like kicked the door down.
Yeah, I mean, and the story he was telling about how the people were outside and they were being like ripped apart by zombies, and then some guy came back to like vandalize, like, you will burn, Gabriel.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that guy is just like a super fast vandalizer and just was able to carve that in really quickly while the walkers were on his tail. Who knows?
Speaking of vandalism, something that I saw which I didn't quite get, there was one point, I think it was after they went and they got Bob, they saw like a big A outside of the church.
Yes.
Did that have any significance to you?
Yeah, it's the A train. That's the train that Rick and everybody got tossed into at the end of season 4. So my read on that was that Gareth and the rest carved that into the church as like an intimidation thing. Like, hey, we've been here. We're watching you. You're in trouble.
So you think you can hide, but you're still in the boxcar. You're still on the A train.
You're still on the A train. You never get off the A train.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
These guys are like John Rocker.
I know.
Yeah.
They hate the A train more than John Rocker does.
All right, well, let's talk about Gareth and all of the people from Terminus, because it was such a fun scene. I'm not somebody who read the comic books, but there was sort of rampant speculation of people that, oh, I think that Bob is ultimately bitten. I think a lot of people had came to that same conclusion.
Sure.
Those people ate him, and then the meat's gone bad.
Meat's gone bad. Yeah. Did you like that?
I did like that. I mean, I feel like it was super like it was very convenient that Bob just happened to not say anything to anybody about that. I mean, Bob, what a poker face on that guy after he gets bit by a zombie and is able just to play it off like nothing happened in last week's episode.
Well, that's what I wasn't able to talk about at the time because I knew this was coming. You know, this was pretty clear to me that this was where they were going to go with Bob. Again, this happened to a different character in the comics, but they do that all the time where they'll take a different character's fate and put it to a different character on the show. But yeah, so Bob, he's getting out of Dodge. He wants to have happy memories of everybody there, and he wants everybody to have happy memories of him. So he just leaves. He doesn't want to make a big deal out of it. Which, you know, from my opinion, it's kind of a crappy thing to do, don't you think, Rob? Like, shouldn't you be like, guys, I've been bitten. I hate to break the news to you, but I've been bitten, and let's just all be cool for like the next 5 hours. We can play some poker. We can, you know, just have a good time, drink some drinks, and have a few laughs, and then you'll probably just want to put a knife in my head, rather than just like walking off into the woods and causing so much alarm for everybody.
Yeah, you would think so. In this world that we live in, you would think that anybody who has been bitten by a zombie needs to at least tell Rick, "Hey, you know what, Rick? I got bit. I got bit." I think that is a bad precedent to have.
Fess up. Fess
Right,
up.
right.
Because like we saw it. I mean, Sasha went out into the woods to look for Bob. You know, everybody went out into the woods to look for Bob. They're lucky that Bob got deposited outside of the church. Otherwise, you know, we've got people like Rick and the gang. They're like waiting in this church until Daryl shows back up. They could be waiting at that church for like 3 more weeks, just waiting for Bob to turn up again. So it's actually pretty inconsiderate of Bob to just go off into the woods to die.
Yeah, and we don't have to go back any further than last season and the jail storyline of, hey, if anybody has a mysterious illness, let's say something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So this should be fresh on everybody's mind. So bad on Bob on this one, I think.
Yeah, probably a bad job on Bob, but it does set up the great scene of the tainted meat. Now, Josh, I know I have been in a active conversation with people about this on Twitter for some time. So the virus that affects people. So obviously, Bob got bit by a zombie.
Yes.
He is going to get the zombie disease, and that's ultimately what kills him. Right?
He's gonna die of the fever, and he's gonna come back as a walker.
Right.
Yeah.
Herschel, same thing. He got bit on his leg. They had to cut his leg off. But when we talk about a couple of weeks ago where Carol puts all of the zombie guts on her face, and I said, what if Carol has some sort of an open wound? Would that turn Carol into a walker? People said, no, absolutely not. Everybody is already infected.
Right. Everybody's already infected.
Okay. So can you reconcile those two things?
I don't see where you're having trouble. Where are you having trouble on this one, Rob?
If I get zombie blood in my open wound,
Yeah.
I'm going to die?
I don't think that's good. I don't think you want to do that. I'm no expert. I don't think it would be great.
If Carol gets zombie guts in her eye when she puts on the zombie costume, is she going to die?
No, because she's Carol and she's a badass and nothing can kill Carol.
She's a badass.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's basically a badass.
All right, anyway, so the meat. Let's go back to the meat. Now,
let's go back to the meat. The tainted meat.
The tainted meat. Is the meat, in fact, tainted, Josh?
Well, I think that if they were eating him like raw, like sushi, I don't think it would be good. But Gareth's like, hey, we cooked it, we're fine. Maybe that works. Maybe eating cooked tainted meat is okay.
Interesting.
Also, he was bit on the shoulder, and they were eating his leg, so maybe it takes a while for the infection to spread that far.
So, do you think that had they not been killed by Rick, would they have turned?
We'll never know. We'll never know, and I suspect that we're not going to get another cannibal storyline like this for a while, so we probably won't get the opportunity to find out.
Can you discuss what happened to the people that ate the leg in the comic books?
What you saw tonight, basically. It's very short-lived for those guys.
Yes, and then did they die in the comic book?
Yeah, almost. I wouldn't even say almost, even worse than they died tonight. Basically, Rick just turns the table on these guys and just brutally murders them all.
Okay, so but
So
it
no,
was
but
not
nobody turns from the tainted meat. No.
okay. So there's some question as to whether the meat is tainted or not.
Right, but I think it's focusing on that I think is focusing on the wrong thing. I think when we're talking about the tainted meat, I think you have to look at Blue Sky Bob here and him finding literally just like the silver lining in everything. And he's even finding something to laugh about in this really, really grim situation where he has been captured by cannibals, forced to watch them eat his leg right in front of him, and yet he came out into the woods to die because he had been bitten by a zombie, and so these bastards are eating his zombified or soon-to-be zombified flesh. So I think that's really the thing, and I think it's just great performance from Lawrence Gilliard in this scene. I think this was my favorite Bob moment of the entire series. So that's the stuff that I'm focusing on. I'm more interested in that.
Of all the great Bob moments, this is number one.
I think that's number one. What else would you say is up there?
What about the time that he found the bottle in the warehouse?
I thought that was annoying.
What about the time that him and Sasha fell in love?
That was okay.
Yeah.
This was better than that.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
tough to pick just one. Like trying to pick your favorite kid.
Oh, I think that you are just saying things that you don't mean. Just putting that out there. I think that
Looking for
I
the
think
side.
I think you're just joking.
All right, so let's talk about a couple other things from the episode tonight. Let's talk about the big showdown between Abraham and Rick in the church.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Abraham's like, all right, I'm out of here. I'm out. See you later.
Screw you guys. I'm going to
You
Washington.
guys, I'm taking my Eugene and I'm getting out of here. Rick's like, oh no, you're not. You're
Oh
not
man,
leaving.
yeah. Too bad Glenn kept getting in the way. I wanted to see that fight.
Yeah. Glenn's like, guys,
I feel like you
come on."
can't be bros with Rick Grimes until you've gotten into a fist fight with him at some point.
Now, who did you feel like has the moral high ground here? Who do you side with? Is Rick right? Hey, we need all hands on deck right now, or is Abraham right? Like, let's get the hell out of here.
I think Rick is right because if Abraham just leaves in a panic, who knows what the Terminus people have planned for them? Maybe that's exactly what they want. I think Rick's absolutely right. I think Rick's right when he says, hold on, we got to solve this thing. We got to use our heads. We got to work together. We got to get ourselves out of this situation, and then we get on the road to Washington. And even Glenn, who's typically voice of reason, he even says to Abraham basically, dude, like, what's the big deal if you leave tomorrow versus tonight? Just leave tomorrow. Let's leave tomorrow. It'll be fine. And Abraham's really just being pushy. So I don't know. I'm kind of Team Rick on this one.
See, I'm Team Abraham because I feel like Rick was kind of downplaying the whole Gareth threat. I mean, these guys captured Bob.
Right.
They cut his leg off.
Yes.
They ate it, and they brought him back. And everybody was just assuming, like, oh, well, they're not going to, they'll probably be back tomorrow to fight us. It's not like nobody was like, oh, my God, these guys could be anywhere right now.
Yeah, but that's because
They left their shelter at nighttime to go drop off Bob, and they went, you would think that they could be, coming in the door at any second.
Yeah, but that's because Rick is a badass, and Rick was like,
But he's
Abraham.
not omniscient.
Yeah, he is though, Rob. Rick is like, hey, Abraham, I got this. Cool down. I'm Rick Grimes.
What is he, Aziz Ansari?
I'm Rick Grimes. Yeah. No, listen, Rick is a badass. He knows what's up.
Abraham, I got this.
I got this.
But I mean,
Snake oil. Snake
he really
juice.
does seem. I mean, I feel like if I'm Abraham and I have Eugene, the guy who's the key to everything, I'm like, I'm not. Look, I'm not a part of this whole you versus Gareth showdown. Like, let's get out of here. Let's get to Washington D.C.
But Eugene didn't want to go.
Yeah, what's his problem?
Eugene, I don't want to go. I'm tired.
I don't want to go yet. Like, Eugene, do you see that cannibals just ate somebody's leg? What do you want? What is here for you, Eugene? Nobody even likes you. Let's get
Wow. Hey, Rob, come on.
tough talk.
Nobody likes Eugene.
Who likes Eugene?
No, you're right. Nobody likes Eugene.
Nobody, nobody likes him. It's not even like, oh, okay, well, he really hit it off with Michonne and he doesn't want to leave her or anything like that. Like nobody even has a relationship with Eugene.
No relationship with Eugene. Eugene sucks.
He's the Eugene that sucks.
He's the
So
Eugene. He's the only Eugene.
I was sort of like, yeah, why don't they just get out of here? But Rick's like, no, we gotta wait.
You got to have more confidence in Rick. Rick is a badass. Rick's got this. You saw what Rick did. He's got this.
Yeah, I know, but Rick is a badass. Just can't be the answer for everything.
I don't know. It works for me.
I think Abraham is more of a badass than Rick.
Abraham wanted to run. Rick wanted to fight. You're siding with the runner. The runner's the badass.
Abraham's like, this is not my fight. I'm trying to save the world right now.
Yeah, but you know what? Rick Grimes, no more half measures. I'm with Rick. This in this world, full measure. Got to go full measure. You got to go full tilt, Rob.
I guess so. Rick was into the vengeance thing.
When you're in the zombie apocalypse, you can only do things one way.
Yeah, that's right. He does
Full tilt.
Full tilt. But I just feel like Abraham really had his eyes on the big picture, and Rick was very focused on the vengeance factor.
He can wait a night.
He could wait a night.
He can wait a night.
Okay.
Let's eulogize the Terminus guys. That's it. No
Gareth,
more. No mas.
Great monologue. Really liked Gareth. Very sad to see him go. He had some really great chewing up the scenery in addition to Bob's leg scenes.
Perspective, Bob. Yeah, I like any time that Gareth says the word Bob. So if he's not going to have the opportunity to say the word Bob anymore since Bob is about to die, I guess he may as well kill Gareth.
What do you think, Josh? Is Gareth correct that better-looking people taste better, or is that just in his head?
I don't know. Maybe.
So, in a roundabout way, when Gareth told Bob that you taste better than I thought you would, was Gareth telling Bob that he thinks he's unattractive?
I think he was telling Bob he's not attracted to him, yeah.
Or he's more of a woman than he expected him to be?
Or he's just, I don't know, like, I'm surprised you're not that attractive, but you taste decently good.
Yes, you taste like you'd be attractive.
You taste like I would be attracted to you.
Yeah, maybe it's your hair, Bob. Maybe have you considered doing something different? Because you taste better than you look.
Oh, and then he started talking about how like he wants to eat Sasha because she's hot. Like that was weird. Gareth was a weird guy. He was really calm about his mom being killed. He was really calm about his brother being killed. That guy had really lost it by the time that he was about to die.
Josh, did you watch Talking Dead tonight?
I did.
Yeah, I thought it was very good because I know one of your other favorites from another show we podcast about, Mary Lynn
Chloe.
Chloe.
Damn it, Chloe! There's no time.
She was very funny on Talking Dead.
Yeah, Chloe O'Brien from 24 was on Talking Dead tonight. Yeah, she was good. She was very funny.
Yeah, she was very funny.
She didn't really know how Jack Bauer would handle the zombie apocalypse, which surprised me because I think the answer would be awesomely.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
It was kind of a crazy panel. It was Gareth, Chloe from 24, and Slash. And Slash from Guns N' Roses took it everything very seriously. Like they were asking him questions, and he was really contemplating things. And he's like, no, you see, the thing about the meat is that it's cooked, and that means that the virus can't Slash. I think he lives in a world where Walking Dead is real.
I also at one point. Chris Hardwick asked Slash if he would have killed Gareth like Rick, and he immediately said, yeah. And then Gareth's like, well, look at him. His name is Slash.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of funny. Yeah, it was a funny panel. It was pretty good.
It was very funny. As far as Gareth goes, the fact that his fingers got blown off, is there any symbolism to that, or is that just what happened?
Finger looking good. I don't know. It was, I think it was just a gross thing to do on The Walking Dead. I don't think that there was too much to that. A little bit of a wink and a nod to how it plays out in the comics, though not exactly.
Okay.
But no, I'm sad to see Gareth go. He was a good character. I enjoyed Andrew West very much in that role. I thought that he was pretty solid. But I guess it's safe to say that Gareth would not have done well in San Juan del Terminus, Rob.
All right, it's time for me to eat some tainted crow, Josh.
Okay, let's hear it.
You and I spoke last week about Michonne's sword
Oh
and what
yes,
was
yes
what
we
was going to
did.
happen.
Yes we
And she
did.
said, I don't need this. I don't need the sword. And I said, I think the show is going too far with trying to give Michonne the makeover. They already completely changed her attitude, and now I think that they're going to make her lose the sword. You said no way. Michonne needs the sword, and you were correct, and I was wrong.
Well, listen, Rob, you're really on point with Sons of Anarchy right now, and I'm really off. So we just have to like trade roles for these shows, I think.
Okay, that's fair enough. Let's start to look ahead now. The last scene of the episode featured Daryl coming back, and then said sort of like, "Okay, I'll bring her out, or let me show her to you." Now, what is
Yeah,
going
what does
on
he say? He
here?
says, "Come on out" or
Come
something
on
like that,
out.
right? Is that like when
Come on
Jeff
in,
Probst
guys.
like
Yeah.
reveals the loved ones? Is it like a family visit?
I don't know what he's doing there. What is Daryl doing here with Rick?
Well, are we talking previews tonight, Rob, or no?
All right, let's talk previews for. I'm gonna hit the buzzer. If you don't want to hear about the previews, all right, then tune out for the next 60 seconds. We'll allow 60 seconds of preview talk. Let me get my timer out, okay?
You ready?
60 seconds of preview talk, which I did watch, starting now.
Okay, cool. So they're gonna get into the Beth stuff next week. It looks like. It looks like next week is gonna be a Beth episode. We saw Daryl and Carol tracking down the car that Daryl saw Beth take off in last season. So you gotta imagine that Daryl somehow crossed paths with Beth again, or at least whoever Beth is staying with. So could he be coming back with Beth? Is this going to be Beth's big re-entrance to the group?
Yeah, the previews were like, "Who is Beth?" Almost as if like Beth is possessed by
It's
demons.
who took Beth.
Who took Beth?
Who
Yes,
took Beth?
who took Beth? But I don't know. Beth doesn't seem like herself.
Beth seems she seems a little out of sorts. She seems like she's been in a real situation.
Oh
So
my God.
I think maybe he's got Beth, or maybe he's got someone that Beth is staying with,
Has to
or
be Beth, right? It can't be anybody else besides Beth, right?
I hope not. Dude, if Carol is not with him, I'm going to lose it.
Okay. All right.
All right, let's come back in.
All right. Spoiler time is over. All right, and we're back.
And we're back.
And we're back. Okay, so we're
Man,
done.
it's so crazy that they're gonna have the smoke monster on Walking Dead next
The
week,
smoke
right?
monster,
Yeah.
yeah. And how I don't really understand how they're going to integrate Gilbert Gottfried into the plot, but it's going to looks like it should be a very fun episode next week.
Affleck.
Rick. Anyway, let's talk about
Jafar.
a couple of things from the episode before we move on. Was there anything else that you wanted to talk about? How about Glenn and Maggie going off with Abraham to Washington D.C.?
Yeah, I think we should just talk about the fact that the group ultimately did split up. So how did that split go down? It's Abraham, it's Eugene, it's Rosita, Glenn,
Yeah.
Glenn and Maggie, and did Tara go with them as well?
Tara is on the Washington D.C. team.
So there's the DC team. That's interesting. We've split up again.
And then Rick, Carl, Michonne, Sasha, Tyrese, Judith, and then Carol and Daryl, and presumably Beth.
Hey, don't leave out Father Gabriel.
And Gabriel, Father Gabriel. So all those guys are on the.
Do you like Father Gabriel?
No, I do not.
Father Lambriel?
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan. Who are you more interested to see what's going to happen with? Team Abraham or Team Rick?
I feel like we've got better characters with Team Rick, but I feel like I want to get to Washington, D.C. at the same time, and I'd like to get to know Abraham a little bit more. You know, I feel like the show could do more with Abraham, so I'd be interested to see more of him, and maybe just like give me a chance to like Eugene. And show me, show me anything Rosita. I just need. I know. There was no way of saying that. That sounded right. I want to see more of Rosita. That still doesn't sound right, but you know what I mean. Like I want to see more of the character. I want to get to know her because otherwise she's just kind of there.
Why does Abraham have such a man crush on Glenn?
I don't know. He loves Glenn.
Yeah.
I think because he fought Glenn. That's the thing. Like you got to fight each other in The Walking Dead, and then you're friends.
And then you're friends. Okay.
That's how you become friends on The Walking Dead. Rob, if you ever see somebody in the zombie apocalypse that you want to be friends with, you got to punch them.
Are you buying that Maggie would just completely ditch the chance to ever see her sister?
Well, I don't know that she thinks she has a chance to see her sister. This is one very fair complaint that you can level at The Walking Dead is basically ever since the prison diaspora, like everybody has gone in their separate ways. Maggie split off from Beth. She has no idea where Beth is. Maggie was all in on finding Glenn and basically never once mentioned Beth. And still really hasn't mentioned Beth. There's a little bit of talk about that in the premiere, I think, like when everybody's making weapons inside of the train car, and I think she's like, last time you saw Beth, she was alive, and Daryl's like, yeah, and that's it. That's all that you get from Maggie and Beth. So that's one thing that the show could be doing better is just letting us remember that Maggie knows that she has a sister out there. I think that would be nice.
One last thing, and then we're going to jump into your questions. What do you think of Abraham's apology note to Rick on the map?
Yeah, what did he say again? Do you have that written down?
Abraham wrote, "Sorry, I was an a-hole. Come to Washington. The new world is going to need Rick Grimes."
That's awesome. Love that. Big fan of that.
Yeah, that's
That's
good.
great. That's a great apology.
That's pretty good. So, what do you think of the 5 episodes that are left this season? Do you think that we will have over or under 1.5 episodes with the Abraham group? Do you think we'll get like episodes only with that group, or do you think we'll see like half and halfsies?
Um, I don't know. I kind of hope that everyone gets back together again pretty soon. That's one thing that I am a little bit worried about is just this split again. Because I think that part of the reason why this season is playing so well is because everybody's together. So you're really focused on one story, and whatever B story of the night is tied to the A story. So I really like that. I hope that we can keep that up, even if that's the Abraham group on the road, and then it's cutting back to Rick's group and stuff like that. I really hope that that's what we're going to see going forward, or that everybody gets back together. Otherwise, I'm a little worried that it's going to be season 4B, and not that season 4B was bad. It was just very different and had a very specific way of telling those stories that I think we need to move away from for at least a little while. So I'm a little worried about it, I will say. But the show has given me reason to have a lot of confidence in it right now, so I'm hopeful as well.
Yeah, I think we're gonna get split up half and half, and I think we may go into sort of like an A B type thing
Through the rest of this half season?
I think so. I think that would be my prediction. Although I've been wrong a few times before. I mean, Lost did it quite a bit, Josh, where you have like the week. Okay, here's the week about the people who are doing this, and then you get the week there were people who are doing that. It's really the second half of last season where it was like there was like 6 different stories.
Right.
We went like like a month without seeing Rick at one point.
Yeah, we had Rick for like the first 2 or 3 episodes of season 4B, and then he didn't show up again until the finale.
Yeah. Okay, so hopefully I don't think we're gonna get that again, but I think we may.
Yeah, I don't want to get that again. That would not be okay in my book.
Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and start to jump into your questions. Okay, Josh, what do you think?
All right, let's do it. We've got question 1 coming in from Papa Woody.
Papa Woody.
Papa Woody, indeed we will. Papa Woody says, did they blow the effects budget blowing up Terminus? Hiding Bob's missing leg under a mound of dirt and grass, it looked like they planted Bob hoping he would turn into a vegetable. Did you notice that, Rob, that they just like kind of hid his leg in the dirt?
No, I did not. I did not catch that.
I'm gonna have to go back and check that out.
Yeah. So you're saying that the production and
Yes.
what they did to make it look like Bob didn't have a leg was that they buried him in the dirt.
Yeah. I think so.
Okay. Yeah, I have to go back and take a look at that. Okay. So let's take one from Jason Burning. Why did the termites just give Bob back? I guess he's bit, but it kind of kills the element of surprise.
Scare tactics.
But they knew they were in the church.
They knew they were in the church, but I think if you deposit like your friend without a leg just like on your lawn, that's pretty freaking terrifying. So I think that counts. I think that's it maybe kills the element of surprise, but you guys still don't know where we are. You don't know where we are. We're taking your friends and we're cutting their legs off. What can you do about it? What's up now, bro?
Okay, let me come up with an alternative plan. Okay, instead of bringing Bob back to tell Rick and everybody what's going on, what if we set the church on fire and then stand out by the front door with our guns and wait to kill everybody? Is it that Gareth doesn't have any guns? He has guns, right? He has guns. He came in with guns.
I don't know that he wants to kill these people because he wants to eat them. I think he wants to kill them slowly so he can eat them slowly.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's all about the eating.
All about the eating. All
Okay.
about the eating. All right, we've got a question in from Michael Rajpal, who asks, "Does The Walking Dead need a villain every season, or are the walkers enough of a threat that we can see no further confrontation with other humans and still have enough drama for the remainder of the season?" What do you think about that, Rob? Because we just killed off our current main villain. Gareth is gone. The governor is gone. We don't have a villain like that right now. Do we need to introduce a new villain relatively soon?
Yeah, the walkers are not villains. They're not the antagonists in the story. They're just like an element of the story.
They're part of the world.
You're like the weather. It's like they're not the bad guy. They're not the adversary. They're not thinking anything. It's always the other people that are the problems in The Walking Dead. I think that we will run into other people that are the adversaries, and I think that's the only way for the story to move. I don't think there's any other way for it. You might have an episode here or there where somebody is in like some sort of a dire situation, or we need to go find supplies or something like that, but there needs to be a villain to the story.
Do you think that's going to happen soon?
I think so. I mean, I think that we're going to start to explore this Beth mystery in more detail, so I think that there will be people associated with that.
I hope so.
Okay. Cabin Douche is back.
Oh my God! Should we keep our distance in case he tries to bite us?
Yes, yes. What does he have to say?
All right, Cabin Douche writes in and says, "Do you think Carol will ever find out about me and Tyrese?" Wow, that sounds promiscuous. Oh, I guess Cabin Douche is referring to the fact that Tyrese did not, in fact, kill Cabin Douche, even though he told Carol that he had killed Cabin Douche.
Does it matter?
I don't think so.
Yeah. That's. I don't think Carol's gonna care.
I don't think so. He's dead now.
Brittany Scott says, "Do you think that the group splitting up was a good idea? Should Abraham have waited a little while longer for Daryl and Carol to come back so the group could all go to DC together?" I have to say I respect Abraham is on a mission, and as much as he may like this group of people, like there's no real sense of like we're all in this together, let's do it. It's like Abraham's like, I gotta go. It's been real. But I gotta get back on the road. Like I was on my way to Washington D.C. and before I met Glenn, and then I've spent the last couple of weeks of trying to look for Glenn's girlfriend, and then I almost got eaten by cannibals. I have to be somewhere. I'm literally trying to save the world.
It's a fair point. It's a fair point.
Like nothing good has happened to me since I met you people. I'm out of here.
It looks like he got a new T-shirt. A little tight though.
A little tight.
A little tight. Question in from Devin Grove. Devin Grove asks, "Does anyone else feel like they took all of Michonne's badassness and gave it to Sasha? Sasha has become an immensely more interesting character, while Michonne has devolved into a background character with no substance. At this point, just give Sasha the sword and scrap Michonne." Harsh words for Michonne, but Rob, I don't think you're going to disagree. I don't think that you're really into Michonne these days.
No, it's not that I'm not into her. I mean, I don't know if I necessarily buy the point that Sasha has become like this amazing character and the star of the show. Like I still like Michonne more than I care for Sasha, who I think is just kind of there a lot of the times. I did think it was kind of crazy that Sasha Bob is dying.
Yeah.
And Tyrese is like, you got to stay with him. He wants to stay with you. And she's like, I need to go kill these guys.
Are you saying she didn't really like Bob that much?
No, I'm saying that what they did to Bob isn't why Bob is dying. And while they did eat Bob's leg, Bob is dying, and he's going to die. He was going to die before they ate his leg, and I felt like it was just kind of crazy that she needed to go kill those guys.
She's got to work some things out.
Yeah, but that being said, do you think that Sasha will be a different person going forward?
Well, yeah, she just lost someone very close to her, so I think that she's gonna have to deal with that, and that might require her kind of just being a little closed off for a little while and just being a bit of a badass.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's take a couple more questions. Spicy Wasabi.
Spicy Wasabi says, "What do you suppose hipster Gareth did before the Walker apocalypse? Food service worker, used car salesman, small business owner, actor, podcaster? What do you think, Rob? What was Gareth's job?"
I like Gareth's jacket.
Gareth looks good. Can I just say?
You think he would taste good, is what you're saying?
Maybe. I mean, he's very attractive, and if we're going by those rules, then yeah, Gareth's going to taste good. But, first and foremost, Gareth looks good. Let me just say, let me put that out there.
Yeah, I'm a Gareth guy, I have to say.
I like
What do
Gareth.
you think he did beforehand?
I'll go with Mactor.
Mactor.
He's got the look. He's got the look. I think, maybe some daytime soaps.
So you think he was in the acting business? Boy, I would have to say I think he was like in some sort of they were talking about on the Talking Dead that Conan O'Brien said he could have been like a barista.
Yeah.
Before that, I think that's kind of funny to
Well, a
imagine.
barista by day, Mactor by night.
Yeah, I could see him being like a substitute teacher or something like that.
I could see that. I could see that.
Yeah,
Anything to pay the bills while he's, trying to get his acting career
yeah.
going.
I mean, his mom is Tasha Yar,
His
so
mom is Tasha Yar. You'd think that she could get him a job, in Starfleet or something.
yeah. So and he could be a Romulan.
He could be Romulan. You know what, though, Rob? Just most importantly, Gareth looks good.
He does. You like that name, Gareth?
Like the name, like everything about Gareth.
Okay.
I don't love that he's dead, but big fan of Gareth.
Okay.
Hottest villain on The Walking Dead, for
Hottest
sure.
villain. Oh, I,
Would you say cute or hot, Gareth?
uh,
He's
Gareth is
hot. Come on,
cute.
he's hot.
Governor is hot.
Governor's dangerous.
Yes, that's what I like.
Dangerous, huh?
I like the bad boys.
Ding, marry, kill. The governor, Shane, and Gareth.
Boy, that's tough. Those are three good-looking guys. I think you would probably. I can't even pick.
It's tough.
That's tough. That's tough.
Maybe you marry Gareth because he's gonna get you food all the time.
Yeah, he cooks. You like a man who cooks.
He cooks. You probably kill Shane, and you probably ding the governor.
That is the way to go. All right. Jack J says, I find it weird that Maggie seems to not care about Beth at all when they seemingly had a close relationship in the prison. Do you guys think
Yes.
there's any chance that Glenn, Abe, Maggie group reaches DC without Rick and company? All right, we talked about the first part. Let's talk about the second part. Do you think that's possible that the Abraham crew gets to DC without Rick?
Hope not. Possible.
Impossible.
Impossible.
I can't see them being that separate where they get all the way to Washington D.C. and Rick is still.
Well, Rick's got the map, man. He could always show up to Washington D.C. a couple days later.
I don't know. I think they're going to be back together by the end of the season.
End of the first half of the season.
But no, not necessarily. But by the end of season 5.
I hope by the end of the first half of the season.
Okay, let's do 2 more questions.
All right, we got one in from Emily Stobbs. Emily writes, did the A that the hunters put on the church stand for appetizers?
Apps.
Apps for everybody.
Yes.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yes. Okay, let's do that. And then William Rinaldi wants to know, do you guys like the progression this new season has? They're moving at a torrid pace. Yes, we love it.
I love it. I am loving this season so far. This is the most I've enjoyed Walking Dead since we've been podcasting about it, Rob.
Good. I'm having a lot of fun too. I hope you guys are as well. Of course, really great turnout here for West Coast version of Walking Dead.
One time only.
One time only. Wiggler can't.
Wiggler's tired. Wiggler's
late.
tired. Wiggler's tired.
All right, good. Well, at least we got to do a West Coast one for you guys along
Maybe
the way.
we'll do another one at some point, but
We'll see. We'll see. Anyway, thank you guys so much. Anyway, we've got so much coming up this week. Josh and I are going to be back for Sons of Anarchy Live. That's going to be on Wednesday morning. So we're going to talk with you guys about episode number 8 of the final season of Sons of Anarchy, that final ride. Plus so much more, Josh. Anything else you want to get out there?
Sure. Lost Lives continues tomorrow. That's going to be Monday. What is that? October 27. Technically today at this point. I'll be with Mike Bloom, and we're going to be talking about 2 of Mike Bloom's favorite characters, Jin and Sun Quan. We're going to have a Quan cast on Lost Lives tomorrow on October 27. And then October 28, it's the long-awaited return of the Game of Thrones Book Club, which is the podcast that Terry Schwartz and I do, which talks about Game of Thrones through the perspective of people who've read the books. So it's a spoiler podcast, but it's going to be a pretty fun one. We've got a lot of really fun stuff to talk about this week.
Plus, Josh and I talked about a season of Survivor based on Walking Dead characters on robhasawebsite.com. Even if you're not a fan of Survivor, I think that if you are a Walking Dead fan, you will still appreciate the story because everybody knows how Survivor works. You vote people off. If you like Survivor 2, even better, but you can check that out on robhaswebsite.com, our reality TV podcast.
Yes, you should definitely check that out. That's probably Rob and I at our loopiest.
Yes, absolutely. Although Wiggler at 2 a.m. is getting close, right?
Getting close.
Getting
Gareth
close.
looking good.
Yeah, it's got a hashtag. Gareth looks good.
Gareth looks good.
Gareth looks good.
Gareth
All right,
looks good.
we love to hear what you guys have to say in the comments always. And if you want to subscribe to our Walking Dead feed in iTunes, go to postshowrecaps.com/TWD iTunes. We greatly appreciate it when you leave us comments and star ratings in iTunes. Thanks so much, guys. We will see you next Sunday night for Walking Dead Season 5, Episode 4. Take care. And Josh, do you want to play us out? It's hard to say goodbye to Bob.
Bye, Bob.